video we're going to be covering our long hip flexor stretch as well as the PAILs and rails. For this we're going to need, and if we're set up here, what we're going to require is something for a knee, just a soft surface so that we're not putting too much pressure on the knee joint itself. We can use anything like a chair, couch, even a wall for that back foot that we're going to be having elevated and bent against. And then here I'm using a support for my upper body and arms. This allows me to keep my upper body in a more stable position. It also allows us to have something that can contract and squeeze so that we can generate more tension to create more stability and more force when we're performing our PAILs and rails. We can use a chair here instead of having something like the equalizer bar. So anything that helps you to hold on, create some support. So set up for the stretch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off in about a 90-degree position with that front leg. I'm going to make sure that I'm not overly extended. I don't want to start with some too much extension in the low back and the lumbar. I'm going to find a nice stacked position here where my rib cage stays down, head over shoulders, and tailbone slightly tucked in. We can use different degrees of knee flexion and bend here. So if we're really strong, a lot of end range strength and flexibility and mobility, I might even have my butt pretty much to my heel. But if we're starting off and we feel that stretch is already fairly intense, we can always get a little further away. So we're creating less degrees of knee flexion here to start off with. That gives us more room to work with as well as progress. For the initial passive stretch, I'll maintain that slight tuck. Now feel that stretch somewhere along from that knee up towards that hip, top of the hip. We'll hang out here for the prescribed duration. That can be anywhere from 60 seconds to 2 minutes. Then for PAILs and rails, we're going to go through the process of creating a full body contraction and tension, and then starting that first PAILs contraction. In this case, the PAILs contraction is going to be extension of that knee. So what I mean by that is, I'm thinking about trying to now go from a flexion into extension, but because we're performing an isometric, as I extend my knee, I'm pressing my foot into that surface, and I'm feeling the front side of my thigh and my quad starting to contract and engage. We're going to do that for the prescribed duration, anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds. And then we transition into our rails. Our rails contraction, I'm then going to focus on squeezing the hamstring. Think about trying to pull my heel closer to my butt, trying to get more knee flexion here, gradually ramping and increasing that contraction up. It's not uncommon to feel the hamstrings start to cramp up in that end range and shortened position. If we do cramp up, we can slightly move away. We're focused on trying to breathe and just work through it, or start off with a little bit of less knee flexion from our starting position. A slight lean away, as long as we're not losing that stack where I'm leaning with my hips pushing forward, lower back extending is fine. If I need to slightly lean and then start to create that knee flexion and contraction there. After that 10 to 20 seconds of a rails contraction, we relax, bring the foot back. We may be able to go a little bit further back into that stretch. Rest here for 10 to 20 seconds before we repeat for the prescribed number of rounds of PAILs and rails. So once again, good posture to start. Maintain that passive stretch, tailbone tucked under, avoid overextending. Then after the passive stretch, take a deep breath in, exhale, tighten up the core, fire up the glutes. Start to extend that knee, so we're feeling the front side quad firing up for the PAILs. Then for the rails, try to flex that knee, pull the heel to your butt, focus on contracting the hamstrings, 10 to 20 seconds, relax, and then repeat for the prescribed number of reps.